no game developed by Nintendo have needed the two most expensive cartridges available for the system, 32GB or 64GB. Those juggernauts were reserved for the impossible ports like the Switcher with all its included DLC, but now it has also been joined by Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, a $70 game providing the potential conclusion of a trilogy that started nearly 12 years ago and can be found on the Switch with a file size of 7.5GB, that being Skyward Sword. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press notification bell as we're going for 2023 likes for this release year and are also doing a big Zelda Switch OLED giveaway if we are near 333,333 subscribers by May 12th. Zelda Breath of the Wild remains to this day one of the largest Nintendo Switch games, but still, it managed to fit on the far less expensive 16GB cartridge. Tears of the Kingdom, however, is 18.2GB, the biggest Nintendo game ever and around 25% bigger than Breath of the Wild's 13.4GB. The ambition of this game and the required bigger cartridge caused the game to go from $60 to $70, as Doug Bowser, the president of Nintendo of America, confirmed before PAX. Naturally, in the case of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, we're only counting what is found on the cartridge and excluding any DLC or updates that need to be downloaded on the system itself. Seeing these numbers, some may think that Tears of the Kingdom is just a major expansion to Breath of the Wild, as the entire open-air map of Breath of the Wild is found in Tears of the Kingdom. And yes, you could have thought that way, seeing that the two DLC packs for Breath of the Wild added 2.5GB in total. Nevertheless, when coming up with such a statement, we forget that Tears of the Kingdom is not only adding to the map, but also removing and replacing a lot from Breath of the Wild's surface. Starting with 120 shrines, numerous of these being shrine quests, 4 divine beasts plus the enemies, bosses and music files in these. Oh, and naturally the quests, cutscenes and much more leading to these. The same goes for the other parts of Breath of the Wild's main quest, the scenes at the Great Plateau, the memory cutscenes, Calamity Ganon and Dark Beast Ganon concluding it all, plus the true ending cutscene. Then you have all the Sheikah Towers, enemy camps, weapon and material locations, wildlife side quests including the 900 Koroks and seeds, Sheikah Guardians scattered across the open map, and the Sheikah tools which we have seen removed from at least the Hateno Ancient Tech Lab, and the list goes on and on. We don't know how much of the 13.4GB was cut down and removed before bringing the size up to 18.2GB, but naturally it is substantial as the surface of Hyrule has changed a lot over the last 6 years. Most of all with the return of Ganondorf, his new and altered enemies and bosses, new enemy camps and boss locations, all where they used to be something else or none. Plenty of points of interest across the map including new towers and the Nazca-like geoglyph lines and so on. But the biggest change in size is naturally found in the floating vertical sky islands, and what has fallen down from here as seen in almost all scenes since February. In truth, while we're 2 months away from the release, we have seen less than 0.1% of the game, so less than 5 minutes. In the sky, it is all hidden both vertically above or horizontally behind us, but no doubt there's just so much more than the camera will show. Even so, already now we see how many more land areas are present in this game compared to Breath of the Wild, as the attention is moved further east and above from central Hyrule and Kakariko to the outskirts of Lorelin and likely Tarita, all coastal or near-coastal settlements where only Hateno played a role early in the main quest. The Zelda team's major challenge was balancing this world, while also making it exciting enough to revisit, and the main motivations appear to be collection of spiritual technology along with locating departure points that will take us up to the sky and rocks that will have fallen down from there and need to be time reversed back up. By adding these keys to the sky, the aim is to incentivize re-exploration with new discoveries on Sky Islands, which no doubt will take up the most new gigabytes that have pushed this game on a more expensive cartridge, and the price from $60 to $70. Though even on the surface there's hope of a major expansion, namely on the water, removing yet another boundary, and doing so naturally takes up space. The same goes for the natural disasters on certain high points, which were confirmed in September 2022 and are heavily marketed even within the physical box and collector's edition of the game. It is clear that this is a very different Hyrule with a new set of opportunities and challenges, pushing it vertically high above the limits that Breath of the Wild allowed us to explore. the crowning achievement of 4 to 5 years of development time to make it before the work on the next Zelda coming years into Nintendo's next system. A game which's aim is to look back at what ideas were more than good enough, but simply were not realized, and it is this sandbox of experimentation for the developers that have allowed them to bring everything from tech demos to old trailers that never made it into an actual Zelda game. These include most of all the proper Sky Rule or Kingdom of Heaven that the hardware and disk space limitations of the Wii didn't allow in Skyward Sword. However, the same goes also for the layer that Zelda simply has never managed to break. We need to understand when looking at Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and their file sizes that these are the biggest Nintendo games for a reason. As the world that producer Eiji Aonuma, director Hidemaru Fujibayashi and everyone working with them have envisioned is to recreate what we can do in our own world. Go out that door, climb that mountain and then shred it down, cross that field, dive into that ocean, survive the desert, reach for the skies for a few hours, and equally head down on the ground into natural and man-made caves and tunnels. In Tears of the Kingdom, the massive size is part in bringing the best of Zelda and merging it together with the places that humanity can reach on our own planet Earth. Well, that and floating landmasses in the sky, but hey, this is fantasy. But excluding the Sky Islands, what is the great area we have seen but Nintendo has yet to confirm as a major section of gameplay in the game? The underground, as this game and era of organic Zelda is not complete without the third layer, and this one with the first confrontation against Ganondorf naturally added additional size to the game, but at the same time also realized the dream of exploring all 3 layers in the one and same game. This right here cannot be understated, as the developers want these games to be a more fun exploration of planet Earth. They even have our inverted moon, but also inspiration from architecture, geography, physics, chemistry, and history. All subjects that usually are boring, but when put into the Zelda blender turn into some of the most exciting things in the world. And that is exactly what adds to the size of this game. The physics engine reinvented with the new hand and chemistry, and all being more fun than ever with multiple forms of weapon crafting, another feature that has brought this game out of a 16GB cartridge. The same goes with how this game subliminally teaches all of us history, civil, mechanical and military, with the new, or if you prefer distant past weaponry and vehicles of the zone. The only difference this time being that there's far more fact to the weapons than just this Guardian is based on this 2500-year-old pot. But rather, this flamethrower is based off an actual flamethrower from 1200 years ago in medieval Greece, and that hand cannon you use there is from China and Europe and is nearly 1000 years old. So much more depth to an already greatly varied world from a gameplay perspective. No doubt the February trailer emphasized the achievements of mankind and specifically the Industrial Revolution. First allowing us to use hot air to get up in the sky, then traverse distances and speeds that no man or horse can compete with, until gaining full maneuverability and control over the sky. All of this and far more hidden within the game together makes this the biggest Nintendo world ever, turning The Legend of Zelda into what I saw in this franchise in 1998, a historical franchise which tells the story of our own world. We strive to explore what is above our heads and below our feet, while also mastering and conquering everything on the surface we all share, all adding to the size of the game, which really isn't an issue when the size of the games of this scale on PlayStation and Xbox, and even PC are 100GB or more. 18.2GB in this context isn't bad at all, as it doesn't even take up 30% of the Nintendo Switch OLED's internal memory, and besides, we all have microSD cards to expand the storage, so the size is not a problem. Hence, for the first time the Zelda team could make exactly the game they want, as they have a template and characters to reuse and plenty of ideas that had not been realized over the last 25 years since Ocarina of Time and its 32MB in 1998. But what do you think of the size, or more precisely content, in this game? Does it meet your expectations? And is it worth the $10 additional as it requires a more spacious cartridge? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to support our channel, as far more Zelda videos are on the way. Last but not least, a big thanks for watching until the end, and to all our patreon.com/CommonRealm patrons, and in particular our royal producer Charles Shesh. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.